I'm Jason, and I'm your guide to Flint and Genesee County, Michigan. On this channel, I'll guide you through the history, present, and future of Flint and Genesee County, all while throwing in a lot of tips for local happenings and hotspots. But first, my credentials. I was born and raised in Flint. I attended Flint Community Schools. I was a paperboy for the Flint Journal and a lifeguard for Genesee County Parks and Rec. I took classes at both Kettering University and the University of Michigan Flint. I've traveled quite a bit, but Flint is my home, and I'd like to show it to you. My dog, Jasper, is a recent transplant from Ohio, and he'll have something to add from time to time. So sharpen up your Flintstone arrowhead, because we're starting right now. The latest ice age ended with glacial retreat, and when those melted, they formed the Great Lakes and the familiar mitten shape of our state. 13,000 years ago, we believe North America was populated by migrants from northern Asia across the Bering Land Bridge. Michigan was basically a dense spruce and fir forest at the time, and the original population were big game hunters living in groups of about 25 individuals. They brought down large mammals like the mastodon, which we now recognize as the state fossil. Their spears were tipped with fluted stone points, and those slowly gave way to the copperworking period called the Old Copper Culture. Experts debate whether heat and fire were involved in their coppersmithery. This technological advancement was not limited to hunting. Copper found its way into agricultural tools, jewelry, and was heavily traded with other tribes outside of the Great Lakes region. Old Copper Culture developed into what archaeologists call woodland culture at about 3,000 years ago. Ceremonial burial had by then become commonplace, and copper had become a status symbol. Burial mounds dating from this time have been discovered all over the Midwest. The introduction of corn from what is now Mexico helped the Great Lakes tribespeople advance into larger communities and merge into a region spanning people called the Hopewell. 1,500 years ago, the Mercantile Federation of Hopewellian culture was largely supplanted by incursions from the Atlantic seaboard of Canada, who entered Michigan's Upper Peninsula and then crossed the Straits of Mackinac into the Lower Peninsula. These people were the Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi, collectively known as the Anishinaabeg, or Three Fires people. They had less than 1,000 years before French traders entered the region in the 17th century. The British then pushed out the French. All the while, the Europeans and Native Americans were engaged in trade and occasionally war, with alliances forming and dissolving quickly. Native American populations were greatly devastated by novel diseases the Europeans brought with them, and then, of course, their remaining numbers were largely forcibly removed and relegated to undesirable land reservations. This later action was rationalized as punishment for Native American allegiance to the British during the American Revolution. The city of Flint was founded in 1819 by Jacob Smith, a notable fur trader, and it quickly developed into a major center for the lumber industry. Genesee County was established in 1835, just prior to Michigan attaining statehood in 1837. Lumber and furs slowly gave way to automobile manufacturing as what once was dense evergreen forest was logged nearly out of existence.
I can't believe my dad hasn't talked about dogs yet. Early humans, of course, brought their dogs with them across the Bering Land Bridge. Dogs helped these people in the same ways they did all over the world, hunting with them, guarding their homes, and providing companionship. Of the canines brought with these early inhabitants of North America, only a few breeds remain, like the Alaskan Malamute or the Greenland dog.
Such a good boy, isn't he? Back to human history, it's fair to say that Flint and Genesee County are a shadow of their heyday from around the 1950s, when General Motors was the undisputed corporate giant of the world. The population has dwindled due in large part to white flight to other parts of the state and the country. The depleted industrial and residential tax base is hard-pressed to maintain the infrastructure built to accommodate a population at least twice the current size of the county. Still, there seems to be a renaissance in the works. Long overdue maintenance projects are underway to rehabilitate the water system and the highways, and climate change is predicted to make the Great Lakes region a desirable place to move. As sea levels rise, hurricanes intensify in the Gulf Coast and up the southern eastern seaboard, and wildfires and drought ravage the southwest and Pacific coast. That does it for this introductory video. Next week, we'll dive a bit deeper into what Native Americans were up to in the region prior to European colonization. And I'll also go through my top 10 local restaurants. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to not miss out. Comment anything that you see here in the background. That's Flint and Genesee County swag. And, thirsty. Cheers.